Is pro, so we grow using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Coach Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And today, folks, we're going to have an amazing show. We have a very special guest on the Business Zone today, which is going to excite all of you.
Yeah, because she was here last month, and so we're excited about her. This is the last month for
Financial
financial
Literacy Month.
literacy, and so we're going to close out the month with a guest that's going to be talking about real estate investment and commercial real estate, and why that's so important, and how that actually does change the landscape when we talk about building and creating assets that can change generational wealth. So we're excited about that. Very, very important in when we're talking about minorities, and we're talking about the Black community, when we're talking about just building generational legacy wealth for our families. That is where our focus should be, is what does tomorrow look like, right? So, and we should be very concerned about what tomorrow looks like for our children and for the generation that's coming behind us. So really, really excited about that. And then next month is May, my favorite month of the year.
That's right. That's right. And why is that your favorite month, Crystal?
That is my favorite month because it's my birthday.
That's
so I kick
right.
off that month with actually my birthday is Monday. So I am kicking the month off, and I will be celebrating for the entire month. I already start posting for y'all to celebrate with me, however y'all want to do that. But I am going to be celebrating for that month, and then
So that whole month is going to be called Crystal's Month.
That's my whole month. My whole month. I share it with my niece, and I have some cousins. We all share that month. So my niece's birthday is on May 2nd, and so so I'll be celebrating with her. And so that's it. It's my birthday season, not my birthday month. It's my birthday season.
and you are entitled to it. You deserve to have the whole season for yourself.
Yeah, it's my whole season. So I took off. I kind of sort of, it didn't quite work out like that on Monday and Tuesday, but I actually cleared my schedule where I didn't have any clients. I did have to teach a couple of classes. I did have my podcast, which is fine because I enjoy those, but I only had one client throughout the week. So it was a relaxed, except for Monday, Tuesday. Wasn't quite so relaxing on Monday, Tuesday, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday was pretty relaxing. So
yeah.
In fact, Thursday, after we did the community briefing, I was going in my garden. And when I was waking up in the morning, I was like, okay, I'm going to do the community briefing, and then I'm going to go in the garden. And then I felt like, and this is really sad, this is when you know you're a workaholic, right? When I said, okay, I'm going to take off the rest of the afternoon, and I'm just going to be in my garden, working in my garden. Then I thought, wow, I feel guilty. Then I thought, and I felt like I was cheating on my boss. And then I thought, wait a minute, I am the boss. Why am I feeling like I'm cheating on myself, right?
You know, when we're dedicated to our craft, we're dedicated to our clients, and that's what happened to us. We feel guilty. Any little thing we have to. I felt the same way yesterday. I went to an event, a procurement event yesterday at the DoubleTree Hotel in Pomona. You know, we had Edison, we had Water Districts, we had McCarthy Construction. All of those guys were there, right?
Uh-huh.
And then I came home and I was so tired. I said, I should take a nap. But it was like 3:30. I'm going, no, it's 3:30. I can't take a nap now. I got to wait until 8 at night.
Right, exactly. It's like, wait a minute. But see, here's the thing. First of all, I had been so overworked for the whole month of for the whole month of April. I
Yeah,
couldn't even, Gilbert. There were days I couldn't even remember your name.
I
I was
know.
tripping over how to, what's that? And I was talking to my sister, and I couldn't remember your name. I
My
couldn't.
co you remember my
You
co-host?
remember? I couldn't remember Greg's name. I couldn't remember Steven's name. I mean, these are people I work with every Jackie I was like, okay, I need to like slow it down, man.
That's
It's
how
like,
you know you need a vacation, man. Because I told you the same thing happened to me. I couldn't remember anything. This one woman I know for 7 years. I'm trying to send her an email or give her a phone call. I don't remember her name. I'm going, what the heck is her name again?
right. So that's when you know that you have to slow it down
Yeah, yeah,
and that it's okay for you to take, because you have to. You can't be
yeah,
productive and you can't go
yes,
at those levels
yeah,
without it. So I got over my feeling like I was cheating myself
yes.
in cheating the boss, because I am the boss, so I can cheat if I want to. So that's what I did. And then I even told some couple people were asking, could they meet with me on Monday? No, I'm not working on Monday. I have a podcast
That's
on.
a national holiday
That's a
there.
national holiday. I'm only doing a podcast on Monday, so don't ask me. I will meet with you on Tuesday. So my new word is no, 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 no.
See, small businesses are so familiar with that word, man, because we hear it every day. We hear it like 10 times a day. So, yep, you're going to have to start implementing that word.
I have to start implementing that word. Hello,
Now,
Fernando, and hello. I imagine that's Patricia with
oh,
a mobile notary service.
oh, yeah, that's Patricia there. Welcome to the Business Zone, guys. And for those of you who are just tuning in, or if this is your first time, thank you for tuning in. This is the Business Zone with Coach Crystal and Coach Gilbert Buchanan. We've been doing this thing for multiple years. We won't even say how long, but the Business Zone has been on since 2016 or
Yes,
17. It's now
16.
our seventh year, right?
Yeah, seventh year.
This is our seventh year, and our anniversary is going to be in July, folks. And we're going to have an amazing show for all of you guys in July. We're gonna operate the Business Zone remotely, so we're gonna get to meet in a facility. You guys are going to be live. We'll interview a few people live, and we will manage this like no other small business podcast has ever been managed before. This is amazing. Now, Crystal, you want to tell them how they can subscribe to the program and how they want to register with us so we can send them information?
Most definitely. So the Business Zone is found over at on our YouTube channel. So we need you to go over to our YouTube channel and scan that QR code to be able to subscribe. So you get notification every week to know when we are coming on. In fact, you'll get notification in the middle of the week, because I usually pop up the advertisement and marketing material somewhere around Tuesday, Wednesday. And so you'll get notification, and you can actually click a notification button to notify you, and it will give you at least 30 minutes so that you'll know when it pops up, and you can just click that button. And there you have us, Gilbert and I, bringing you amazing guests. And if we don't have a guest, then we actually have a class in session. Both Gilbert
Class
and
in session.
So both Gilbert and I are business coaches, and we provide coaching for the small business community. And so we give you first level coaching. Both of us are very nurturing. We understand our communities, and we understand sometimes we have to go that extra level. So we provide you all kinds of love and nurturing and care, but we do tough love as well. Sometimes you guys just got to be pushed so that we can make sure that you're business ready, bank loan ready, and contract ready. Not getting ready, but already ready. We miss out on so many opportunities because we're trying to get ready and not already ready. So we have a guest that's going to pop in for us before our guest that's scheduled for today. But we have a young lady. This lady was ready. She was ready. And so we are so excited because she was ready. She was on the show last month when we were honoring women. And this is why you have to be ready, because you never know when an opportunity is going to pop up. And
And when we talk about ready, folks, this picture image of this guest that's going to come on next will be that image that we're going to show all over the place, all over the world on our
Yeah.
podcast on the Business Zone. We want to get your picture image up here as well, right next to hers, guys.
Right.
So
So you always want to be ready. And I have a quick little story, Gil, before we bring her on. And then we're going to bring on, I guess, Mr. Matthew Gates, who's going to talk about the commercial real estate industry, real estate period as an asset, and how that changes and the investment of that in our community in Los Angeles. But I was teaching a class this week. And so the person had us come on early to do a pre-show, right? To do the setup and making sure we're already ready. And so as we were doing it, I have another class on Wednesday, the 3rd. And so that person was asking, did I need to have like a 30-minute leeway in order to be ready? I said, my dear, let me tell you something. I said, first of all, I broadcast at least 3 or 4 times a week. First of all, if it's not a class I'm teaching, I have a podcast. I have a couple of them that I do. I said, but let me tell you a little story. And I had a class. I had a schedule, some on my schedule. A lot of my organizations just schedule me. They put themselves on my schedule. So I saw this class on my schedule, right? And I didn't remember having a conversation about this class, but it was on my schedule. So, okay, so I popped in, and I usually pop in about 15, 20 minutes early before it's time for the show. And I couldn't remember if it was my class or if they were asking me just to be there as a support. So when I came in and I asked the organizer, I said, who's teaching this class? Because it wasn't clear, right? And they said, you are.
You are teaching this.
Oh, I said, give me 10 minutes. I had to go find
the materials,
a presentation in the course, because I'm always ready, like you're always ready, right?
That's right.
Let me go get a presentation that fits this topic here.
Yeah. See, that's what we do here on the Business Zone, folks. We're always ready. We're preaching that you got to be business ready, you got to be contract ready, you got to be loan ready, and nonprofit ready. And that's what we teach here. And see, my co-host is an example of that.
Give me 10 minutes so I can roll through my PowerPoint so I can figure out which one is going to be as close to this topic that you need. No one would have, and they did not know. And she said at the end, she goes, wow. She said one would have thought you already that this was your topic. It's like, I'm always ready.
That's what we do, baby. That's what we do on this show, guys. And that's why we've been promoting all of you who are really listening to what we're putting out there and following the principles of business and contract readiness, because that's the only way you are going to get an opportunity. Just remember this, guys. Just remember this. First of all, in our industry as an entrepreneur, the system is designed to tell us no. Okay. They're always telling us no. Hey, can I get a loan? No. Can I get a contract? No. Can I team up with you? No. Can I get some employees? No. The only thing they say yes to, folks, is us paying taxes. Do I pay some taxes? Yes, you pay taxes. See, that's the only thing they say yes to, guys. So you always want to be ready. And in February, we had March we had Women's Business Month, right?
Yeah, March.
And throughout the whole month of March, we featured women on the show. We talked about their business, we talked about their readiness ability, and we talked about what industries they're in and how they're solving that pain point in that industry to make it special. And one of our very special guests on that show was no other than our next guest that's coming up right now. And we talked about a number of obstacles that she's facing in the industry, because she's in the construction industry. So we were talking about all the obstacles she's facing and how she's going to jump on it and step on the throat of those challenges and make it happen. And guess what, folks? She did just that. And she called me today. She said, hey, I got good news. I said, what? I can't wait to hear this good news. So, folks, we're going to go ahead and bring her on right now. So, Crystal, you want to do us the honors?
Okay. There we go.
Look like you're frozen there, Crystal.
Am I back now?
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
Okay. Yeah, I had a little issue there. Okay, so we're gonna bring on our guest, and we basically Matthew, we see you over there, so we'll be bringing you on and gonna have a great conversation. But we wanted to congratulate Andrea because we're so excited about what has happened here, and the conversation started last month, so Gilbert just kind of planted that little seed, and so we want to just congratulate you. And again, this is the example of you being ready, being business ready, contract ready. And so with that, hello, my dear.
Hi.
How are you? You
I'm
and your
doing
husband.
great. Thank you.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much. We're so excited.
So tell us about it. Tell the world what has happened here.
So my husband and I, we had applied for the Business Connect program. And so we were one of 700 companies that went out.
700?
Yes.
Holy
700
moly.
companies that pitched our business to have the opportunity to participate in the NFL upcoming event. And so my husband and I went, Gilbert, with all your coaching skills, I've coached him. So now me and him have to go to the table, and we both had to, present our business, and we both had the opportunity to pitch to the NFL. And we just found out yesterday on the best night, the night of the draft, that we were one of the companies that was selected to actually have an opportunity to do work with the NFL, which is something huge for not just for us, but our employees. And we're just so excited.
That's beautiful, man. That is so beautiful. When you told me this morning, I was so excited. So I just want to let the audience know, for those of you who are just tuning in to the Business Zone, we're on every Friday from 3 to 4:30. We bring on very special guests, some small businesses to speak about their contributions to the community, what they're doing to help solve pain in the marketplace. And Andrea was one of those. Now, her organization is called Allegiant Electric LLC. Allegiant Electric LLC. And they're located in Las Vegas. I met Andrea when I was in Vegas. I was hired to teach some contractors how to become contract ready to build the stadium for the what's the name of that team again?
The Raiders.
There you go, for the Raiders. I see. I'm getting what Crystal was talking about earlier. My mind is going. But yes, so we were training those subcontractors to be ready to participate on that contract in building the Raiders Stadium in Las Vegas. And Andrea was among those subcontractors that was there. As a matter of fact, she was one of the few women in the class, and people were going, "What? How come we can't get some of this?" And she just stayed quiet, and she observed. See, that's one of the things about entrepreneurs, man. You don't have to make a lot of noise. Just stay quiet and read the room and observe what's going on. That's exactly what she did. So anyway, she was on our show in March, and we were talking about that contract that the Super Bowl was going to Vegas in the state of Nevada. And she was saying, I don't know how I can get a piece of that contract, because there's so many bidders on that. And we discussed it, and we said, Andrea, you are talented, man. You got a lot of credibility, and you've got a lot of accolades under your belt. So you should just go for it. And she did. And she did not hear anything. I'm going to have you tell a story, but I'm just going to give them a little summary. So she did not hear back from them for a long time. So she thought they passed her up. And before you know it, yesterday, Andrea, tell them what happened.
We got the notification, and I said, you know what, they saved the best for last, because it was on NFL draft night, and we had the opportunity. This was back in 2020 before COVID. And so we were one of the only electrical contractors at that event during the draft. And so whenever everything happened, COVID hit, we didn't, nothing ended up occurring. So we just kind of, waited, and then we reapplied. And so when we sat there in front of BJ, we had the opportunity. She's with Business Connect, with the Las Vegas Business Connect. And I told her, I have my picture. We were there. And I showed it to her because I have it on LinkedIn. And so it's a lot about, how do you market your business? How are you, promoting yourself and promoting these events and different things, within your industry on the different social media platforms. And so she went and took a picture with us. So I felt very confident when we left. And then, they started announcing people that had been selected, and they had already announced another electrical contractor. So I just was like, okay, let's just wait patiently. And patiently enough, I said, you know what? I was so excited that it was on NFL draft night, because that was just the icing to the cake. So we're so excited and so proud and so excited to participate. Maisha has been kicking it like through the roof. She's out here representing small businesses, making sure that we're all given an opportunity out here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I'm just so appreciative to her, to BJ, to the entire team. And it was basically like they set it up like a Shark Tank type of situation, where you go in, you pitch your business, and you talk about your strengths and what do we have to offer the NFL. This is something bigger than I've ever imagined or dreamed. Yeah. And we put it out there, and I told my husband, we wear our hearts on our sleeves, and our business, our pride, our reputation, our hard work, our team, everything that we do, we just had to go up there and just make sure that we represented our team. And when I come to the table, I come to the table with my entire team. My guys, 7 of them have already bought houses. One of them is qualified right now. So when we're making an impact, we're not just making an impact for small businesses and hiring people. We're making an impact buying houses, buying cars. We're making an economic impact throughout our industry.
You know what I love? You know what I love about this, Andrea? You guys are a family-owned business, and the employees that you bring in are all family-centric. So you do whatever you can to help the family, man. You're building the community. I love it. I love it.
Right. My background, I previously was a program director for a nonprofit, helping families get qualified to purchase a home. So oftentimes, in our industry, a lot of our employees may not know or understand the process of what it takes to buy a house. And so just being able to be there for employees, and, they come to me with questions about all different walks of life. And we are a small family, and, we are all continuing to grow as they're having children, and we're now having grandchildren. It's just such an exciting, time for all of us.
But that's pretty awesome, because you're also, like I said, this month is the last month, the last coming to the last day of Financial Literacy Month. So you're teaching them that with their earnings, you're creating that generational wealth, right? Because if they're buying homes, they're taking care of their families in a different way, not just month to month and living day to day, right? So you're helping them create that legacy in their families, and teaching their children how important it is that you work, you budget, you save, right? And that is not just about living paycheck to paycheck. So I think that's absolutely awesome. That's a good that's a good philosophy to be able to project within your company. And those are good values to be able to teach your employees. So kudos to you guys for having those company values, in addition to being an exceptional company. And, I always say this to women that are in the construction utility industry. It is a male dominated world. And so for you guys to be successful in that, it takes a lot, because just to be seen in that world.
I've been blessed because my husband, he stands behind me, and we have an amazing project manager as well. So, we're educated, we know what we're doing, we show up to the job, we do a great job, and we just continue, getting additional work. And we've been truly blessed, and not just, ourselves as employers, but with our employees. Many of our employees, some of them have been with us over 5 years. There's
Yeah.
longevity. I
That's
have
good.
a father, son, and the cousin. They're all with us,
That's
working with us.
amazing.
And they're all, building different, opportunities within themselves. And, it's just exciting to see them flourish as we continue to flourish. And, we just had the opportunity to go on a vacation, and we took our project manager with us. And that
Oh,
was, it was exciting for us to
that's
have
great.
that opportunity as well.
Awesome.
See, there is a reason why you and your company was voted Small Business of the Year by the SBA last year, right?
Yes. And not just of the SBA for the year, but for the region. And that's over Guam, Hawaii, Arizona, California, and Arizona.
Amazing.
That is
So,
fantastic.
So this was probably like the West Coast, right? Was it for the
right.
West Coast region?
And it's
That's
brought so
amazing.
many opportunities, let me tell you. I've been to the White House, had the opportunity to sit with the vice president, along with 5 other Hispanic companies. I
Yeah.
also was invited to the White House again since we last spoke, and that
Yeah.
was to participate in the SBA Women's Summit. And I'm
Wow.
also serving as a chair for WeBank in
Yes.
Nevada as a forum chair, and they just basically nominated me to participate with WeBank West for women of color serving the Latino community. So I hope to project, everything that I've learned to give back and,
Yeah.
give people opportunities to come to me if they have questions or see whatever I could do to help them build their business and flourish the way that we have.
Beautiful. Now you see why you were chosen out of the field of 700 other contractors, because you've got the accolades. Not only were you Small Business of the Year for the region by the SBA, but you've got all these certifications. You got the know-how. You've worked on projects that many of your competitors have not worked on. We're talking about solar and all of that. You've done
EV
that.
charging stations. We're dominating in the EV charging station arena. Our team is just really doing a great job out there. And we just landed another really large project that we're excited about. And,
Wow.
we're just continuing to be blessed and having the opportunity to hire more people and to
Wow.
continue to, at one point, the next time I come, I hope that we're able to buy a building and, continue our growth. That's just, our hope. We have a lot of years in us. I know many people have offered to buy our company. I'm not ready to sell yet. So
No,
to
you're
all
not
you guys
ready yet.
wanting to come to buy, we're not there yet.
You want to build some more equity in that.
Right.
And also, just before you're ready to purchase your building, speak to me, because then we can look at either a SBA 504 loan or a different type of structure for you. But we want one where you can benefit. You're going to get a whole building, and who knows, maybe you're going to get 20,000 square feet, 30,000, we don't know. And then you're going to split that up. So you're going to occupy one side of that, and you're going to lease out the other portion of that, so you can make some revenues coming in as well. And it's amazing that you're on this show today, because our next guest, that's what he does. That's what he does. He's going to be talking, so he might be able to help you as well. You see what I mean?
No, that's exciting. And, once we found out Gilbert was on the top of my list, I was like, you're not going to believe this, Gilbert. I was like, we did it. We got into the NFL. You've been such a great mentor, both of you guys. Thank you guys for everything along the way, always making yourself available. And, you just have to believe in yourself. And even though people tell you, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you just keep your head up, keep walking, and, believe in yourself. And that's all that matters.
I'm telling you, man, we're so proud of you guys.
You're awesome. You're awesome. And husband, congratulations to you. I know.
You know what? I was quiet in this, but I'm not going to lie. I was telling my wife, why do you do so much networking classes and we're not getting nothing out of it? And now I see the importance of it. And you know what? Networking, I truly believe in my heart. That's how you grow. And
Oh,
in the beginning, when she first started getting her first license, I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Wasting all this time doing this and that. We're not getting revenue. And then over time, you refer work, you get leads. It's a family, you know.
Yes.
Well, you know,
I
Irving,
appreciate you both, and my wife has mad respect for you guys. So
Thank
do I.
you.
I know I don't communicate with you guys a lot,
Yes.
but anybody listening out there, believe in the system. It will work. It's patience. That's something that I don't have. She does, but it's working.
well, you know, networking is probably the more of the business than it is the actual business.
Yes.
You know, having a cohesive network of individuals that know what you're doing and strategically making sure that you're posting and networking and putting that's the beauty of social media, right?
Yeah.
It used to be we worked in a silo, no one knew what we were doing.
Right.
But being able to strategically post what you're doing on those platforms, you don't know who's looking and when they're looking. I'm always surprised when I go to my LinkedIn and they'll go, 300 people looked at your site today.
Yes.
I'm like, really? Right?
Yeah.
And you never know. I have people coming up to me and they'll go, "You're Crystal, aren't you?" I'm going, "Yeah, but who are you?" And it's because of that. But
Yes.
so very important. And yes, her networking has paid off. So kudos to her. And so they probably the NFL knew about her before she even knew about
That's
them.
exactly it. That's exactly the point I was gonna make. You know, after this contract that you have with the NFL, I guarantee you, instead of see the networking your husband talking about, you probably won't have to do that anymore. They're gonna be calling you now. They're gonna go, "Oh, I heard about what you did."
Right.
And that's when you made it, when the network starts to call you versus you having to reach out to the network. That's when you know you have stepped over that one line where you don't have to cold call because they calling you. That's when you know you're on that road to success. So congratulations to both of you. However, Gilbert and I can be there for you. We're here for you. And just keep moving forward and let us keep us informed of all the great things that's on the horizon for you. We're excited.
Thank you guys so much. We appreciate everything you guys have done.
And remember, you're going to have a copy of this link, this video, because this is live on YouTube right now. So the world is seeing this right now.
Yeah.
So you never know. You may get a call from Dubai next week to do some work. So you're going to get a copy of this so you can use it in your marketing efforts. And I want to say a shout out to your mom in the background. Tell her, hey, when I come back to Vegas, I want some tamales.
She'll make you some too.
She made some tortillas, beans, red chili.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
The Gilbert's coming for the celebration.
I appreciate everything you've done for our company. Thank you guys.
Not
You're
a problem,
so welcome.
man. You
So
guys...
we're your cheerleaders back here.
Exactly. And if you don't mind, you can stay on and listen to our next guest because he's got some real nuggets that can really share with you guys regarding commercial real estate and properties and all of that. So let's check it out.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Andrea and Mr. Vigil. Congratulations, guys. Congratulations.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All righty, that was pretty awesome. So before I'm going to bring on Matthew, we're going to do your we're going to share your commercial, and then we're going to be bringing on Matthew before that happens. While that's happening, I'm going to bring him in, but I'm going to do the commercial first. And is it playing? Let's see. No, it's not playing. Hold on one second. Let me get it to play.
There you go.
There we go.
Gonna make it bigger? Yeah, there you go.
Is it playing? There we go.
Do you have a tool that organizes your company's paperwork and takes care of all your record keeping? Does your current record-keeping system send you 90-day alerts to remind you that your key documents are about to expire and need to be renewed? Can you find contracts and procurement opportunities in seconds from any of the 50 United States so you can grow your business? Is your business organized so that you can tell which key documents are needed to efficiently run the business? How about woman-owned, small business, or disadvantaged business enterprise certifications? Do you have a checklist of all the key documents you need to become certified? Does your current system allow you to conduct market research from multiple sources and provide you industry and market data in seconds? Well, Small Biz Pro does all of that and more. Small Biz Pro is the #1 business management, compliance, procurement assistance, and market research assistance tool on the market today. Download the app now and you will be amazed. It's like having 3 additional employees working for you, but you don't have to pay them. What are you waiting for?
All right. So you guys
All
go out
right.
there and get your 3 employees that you don't have to pay.
That's right. That's right, baby. Small Biz Pro. Don't forget it, guys. You want to be ready. You want to be organized. You want to have all your documents in one place that you can access in seconds. You go to smallbizpro.net, baby. Check it out.
Right, and that Gilbert is the inspiration and the creator of Small Biz Pro. That's how he gets his clients business ready, bank loan ready, and contract ready. So you don't have to be getting ready; you are already ready.
That's
So
right.
our guest is here, Mr. Matthew Gates. He is
The phenomenal Mr. Gates.
he is rounding out Financial Literacy Month, financials, economics, money, investments, all those things. That's very important to making this world go round. In fact, the world is completely in complete chaos right now, especially the political world. And it's all geared around this.
Yes, yes.
So Mr. Gates is a commercial real estate analyst and research manager and a thought leader with a proven ability to accurately identify trends across multiple asset classes and present those insights to investors. He also is the founder and CEO of In the Building LA, a multimedia
Yeah, I want to hear more about that.
a platform working to build a bridge between real estate professionals and the community they impact. He attended the UCLA, Los Angeles, where he spent several years conducting independent research focused on identifying the catalyst for long-run economic growth within the urban centers. He participated in the USC Ross Minority Program for Real Estate Development, as well as Project REAP, which is Real Estate Associate Program. So welcome, and I'm sure that doesn't even come close to who you really are. So you're going to tell us who you really are. I had a great conversation, and unbeknownst to me, he and I have a mutual friend. And that's actually how he started the conversation when he came and sat down at a table. We were at the Urban Marketplace meeting, conference a couple weeks ago. And that's how he introduced himself to me. And so he's a protege that was of my uncle. So Matthew, welcome to the Business Zone. We're glad to have you.
Welcome to the Business Zone, sir.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'll try to live up to the bio. I mean, for a second, I wasn't even sure who exactly you were talking about. So
Do I know this guy?
But I'll be honest, I'm loving the energy on a Friday afternoon. Obviously talking about the topics, but the way the spirit y'all do it in is good.
Thank you. We enjoy, if you have not caught on yet, we truly enjoy what we do.
That's right.
Having a good time. Sure.
Oh yeah.
So talking to us about this commercial real estate and community and investments, because LA, we know, is just like wow in this commercial, the real estate, the housing of the people, the trying to buy in this marketplace. So tell us what's the real deal here.
The real deal is, these are wild and interesting times. I was the conversation by saying I am not a guru. The Instagram guru, I'm the opposite of that. So I'm always learning. The same way I'm sure you all are, and all of your guests. This is it's interesting times. Like, you don't have usually this sort of widespread global turmoil and uncertainty around a number of factors. At the same time, being in LA, where you have all of this investment pouring in to the city, and so it's kind of like these two things are almost working against each other, or so it makes it, you know, a little bit difficult for people to figure out. Exciting times. I think there's always opportunity, but it's really, it requires some patience, and you got to do your homework for sure.
Yes, definitely. So, tell us a little bit about your background, how you got started in this, where you came from, that type of thing, to kind of paint picture to the audience, why you chose this field.
Yeah. So I feel like I've been in commercial real estate or in real estate most of my life. I mean, I moved, at least my adult life. When I came to LA from Orange County, I went to high school in Orange County. After graduation, moved to South Central. And I think the first thing that really stood out to me was the fact that, in the 90s, as Orange County was changing, like it was just normal, right? Growth and development was normal. And then to come to South Central and see a lack of investment, and then living here for the last 30 years, trying to really just understand why that is, and then being frustrated when you really start to unpack the layers of that, being frustrated with the lack of progress, with some of the arguments or reasons why people will say that investment is not a good idea or it's not possible, and seeing how that impacts people's lives, right? And so when I went back to school and really started to figure out what I want to do with my life, I went back as a non-traditional student, so I was a little bit older. For me, it was like, no, I want to figure out how to really, what's the best path? What's the best way to stimulate economic growth in communities, if I accept that everything that people say about the reasons why it's not possible. So if we accept that structural racism is a barrier, if we accept that there's a lack, the narrative is that there's a lack of business savvy or business education, or there's a lack of social capital, like we don't have the right relationships. If we accept that all that is true, which I could probably disagree with a handful of that, if I accepted that, then what still is possible, right? And what I came up with was that really real estate is the one space where the community at large has the opportunity to control its own destiny and create like a real dynamic growth in terms of our wealth potential. And so that kind of led me down a path of really trying to understand what commercial real estate is, how. It's easy to identify kind of the what, but then the how. And so I've been on that journey now for 10 years. I worked for some really big shops and had a good opportunity to learn from some really smart people. But at the same time, I've always been kind of curious enough to try to apply those things to the areas that I was interested in, primarily I would call it the greater South Los Angeles market, which would include Inglewood, Willowbrook, Watts, Compton, East Side, all the way to what used to be kind of the boundaries of Black LA on the West Side. And so it's been a good journey, and that's led me to meet a lot of really amazing people, and spend a lot of time kind of digging into what we can do to change what we see.
Now, recently, and one of the things I see is that if we all collaborate together, we can make some amazing things happen, right?
Yeah.
And so I know you were part of this, but recently, and there's some other collaborations going on, and we'll talk about that one as well. But recently, there was a collaboration that took place in Leimert, and you were involved in that, and that was where 4 retail tenants came together, Akil West and Anthony Jolly and Aday Nurth and Dr. Adrian Dove came together to purchase some land project, their 12,000 square foot real estate or retail property there. Can you tell us, you were involved in that, right?
Yeah, I
Okay.
was. I was the broker representing them in the purchase.
So that's pretty revolutionary here in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And I would hope that that could,
Not just in LA.
right. Oh, okay. And I would hope that could be a model that could be moving forward, because
Yes.
that could change some things.
Yeah.
That could really change how we could move forward to changing this racial gap we have in
Mhm.
being able to purchase real estate. So can you tell us first, how did that all come about, and how can that become a future model for other groups to come together like that?
Yeah. So I mean, it came about really simply just because there were some dynamic and really um, innovative entrepreneurs who have spent the last handful of years reactivating Leimert Park and bringing a certain energy. And in the process of doing that and just doing the good work related to providing for the community, whether it's free meals program or reactivating the space for Juneteenth and other programming, helping Leimert Park kind of come back to the essence of what it's supposed to be as the Black business district, or the economic heartbeat of South LA. They had an idea. It's just that simple. Akil had approached some of the other business owners in their building about acquiring the space and what that might look like. They had some preliminary conversations with the owner to find out what he may be willing to sell the building for. And in the process of that, I actually ended up doing an article on them about something completely different. And in the course of that conversation, Akil kind of shared with me what he was trying to do. About 6 months later, he ended up, obviously also during that conversation, I kind of let him know what my expertise was and what I was doing in commercial real estate. And about 6 months later, he approached me and asked if I wanted to represent them. So super blessed and grateful for that opportunity to be a part of something that significant. And what I thought was, your previous guest, one of the things she mentioned that I really loved was this idea of team, right? And bringing her team with us. And one of the things that, and when I thought about commercial real estate and what I wanted to get into and why I thought it could be such a powerful tool was because it had an ability for us to do it collectively, and maximizing the opportunity by coming together, sharing resources. And in this case, they were able to not only pool their social capital, the relationships, the networks, the goodwill, that sort of non-fiscal capital that they had built up over a number of years. They were to pool that together to then go find the financing to acquire the building. And that part to me was what was scalable. The fact that I think a lot of times in real estate, or a lot of times in community, we think that we have to be individual.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Part of that is the programming that we get, like America, rugged individualism. I'm gonna do it on my own. That kind of mentality that we're taught from a very young age. But that kind of goes against the grain of what we are as a people, but it also goes against the grain of what every other group does.
Right.
Nobody else is
right.
Nobody else operates like that,
Nobody.
But one of the challenges with our particular situation as African Americans, I'll just say that, but just Black Americans or Blacks in America, is the fact that we have this 450, 500-year legacy that has made it difficult for us to develop like, know, and trust in a way that we then are open to doing business with each other in a way that's very common and normal for other people.
Right.
Good.
Um,
So I
Yeah.
can see how others may want to imitate that approach and try to,
Yeah.
expand on it.
Yep.
I'm just wondering, so how many buildings in Los Angeles itself got your fingerprints all over it?
So that was that was actually the first commercial deal
Mhm.
that I had done.
Mhm.
I've been in commercial real estate for 10 years on the operations side. So I've a market research director. I've tracked macroeconomic, like the fundamentals that drive values
Yeah.
from Tri-Cities, which is like Burbank, Pasadena
Yeah.
area, all the way down to Orange County.
Yeah.
I've done that for the last 10 years. And then I had a mentor, Bill Yarborough, who has passed on in the last year and a half, but he really encouraged me to go and get my license.
Yes.
And he felt that I could have the greatest impact on community, and also, just for my family on the sales side. And so I transitioned over to that, to the sales side, did the Leimert Park deal. I also did after that, did a $2 million lease
Mhm.
transaction for Keel over at the Baldwin Hills Mall, so that they could create the Soul Folks Art Lab, which is another community space. I'm currently working on 4 or 5 different community-oriented commercial transactions along the Crenshaw corridor, and that's really the niche that I want to focus on, is helping local businesses, local entrepreneurs, local individuals be able to tap in and take advantage of the opportunities that are presented by all the public investment in our community.
There's another project that's coming up. Cherie Franklin at the Urban Design. She and another group are getting ready to do some collaborative on another big lot, kind of a artsy production studio that's going to be off of Stalker, right?
The Stalker Street Creative, yes.
Okay, so that's going to be another collaborative. I'm really loving the collaboration. I think it's so important for us as Black people to really realize that we can work together.
It's a requirement. And I'll give you an example. So in my previous life in research, one of the things that we did was, deep dives on ownership structures of multifamily properties on the West Side. Mm-hmm. And what I found was in a number of cases, there was usually some sort of there were a lot of deals that were structured where there was a real estate person, someone who does this all the time, in the center of a deal, but working with different individuals. And oftentimes these individuals didn't know each other, or they didn't have a pre-existing business relationship with each other. But as long as the documents were right, as long as the paperwork was right, and everybody was comfortable with what we were investing, what the potential return was, and the fact that I was going to be protected by the legal document that we've signed, then they just do it, right? And what I found particularly in the Leimert Park transaction, was it took a while for us to get to that place. But once we got to that place and put something on paper that everybody could wrap their arms around, now to watch them a year and a half later, what they're doing and what they're trying to do in that area, and the way that they work so seamlessly together is really beautiful and amazing. But it started with that first piece of, that leap of faith, right? And the thing that protects people when you're taking that leap of faith is the document.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
So tell me about your co-founder and you're the founder and the CEO in the Building LA. Tell me about that. What's that program? It's a media platform, right?
Yeah. So In the Building LA is a digital media company. We focus on telling stories specifically related to the way that real estate and community intersect here in South LA. Our purpose is to try to demystify the language of real estate, to kind of provide, it's kind of an edutainment space where we try to meet people where they are, and let them know, hey, this is what's happening in your community. This is how you can position yourself to take advantage. This is how you can rally support for or against a project, but this is why you should choose one side or the other. It really, when I was trying to leverage out of like the big shops of commercial real estate and wanting to get back and kind of bring those skill sets back to community, I would go to a lot of community events. Some of them were charrettes or, just discussions, often that were held by a developer, or they were hosted by a community activist who was typically against a project. And what I found was if the developer was leading the conversation, then it's the greatest project ever. It's going to change your life for the good. There's nothing wrong with it. Don't worry about it. Just sign off and we're good. And if it was an activist, it was, this project is the single thing that's going to destroy the Black community forever, and we cannot have it. And there was no middle ground. And what I noticed as an observer was that you had people coming out to these events who are just legitimately seeking information so that they could then make a decision about the future of the community that they wanted to live in. And depending on the conversation, depending on who was having the conversation, they either left completely under the influence of one thought or another, or they walked away kind of confused that, well, when I asked a question, you didn't really answer it directly because it might have been a little bit challenging to the sales pitch, right? And so I really wanted to create a space that was independent of that kind of bias, that was just informative, that would just provide news information, that would just bring a lot of experts to the table, Black people, brown people who live in the community, who practice commercial real estate for a living, so that they could share their insights. And the other thing I wanted to do was to get more people, particularly young people, engaged in the industry, because it's a very lucrative way to take care of your family, and we're underrepresented. And when we're not at the table, other people are making decisions for your community. They have no idea what's in the best interest of your community. And a lot of times those solutions are delivered to you well after they've been decided upon. And it's not ideal, right? And so I really just wanted to create a space for conversation.
So let me ask you this, Matthew, especially coming from that. So that's kind of more coming from a impartial journalistic type of platform, right? So when we look at the Black community or our community right now, especially in the Crenshaw district, where a lot of individuals from the outside of our community have been buying up our property. And then from those of us that live in this community, what does the future look like for us from your journalistic, impartial position?
Yeah. That's let me polish up my crystal ball.
Or what does it look like? What does it look like right now, where you're sitting when you wrote your articles? What does that look like?
Yep. So right now, obviously, I don't have to tell anybody. There's a lot of activity going on. A lot of things have happened over the last 2 to 3 years, in terms of like ownership changes that the community is just not aware of,
right?
Because there hasn't been a redevelopment of the property. That that's usually the thing that we all pay attention to. Right. Once a building goes down or goes up, like now we're kind of aware of it. The Metro obviously has brought more than its fair share of people who just discovered South LA and just discovered what amazing untapped potential it has. Yes. But it also has created there's a real energy, particularly amongst small business owners, to stake their claim and to learn what it takes to transition from leasing to ownership. And so I'm really optimistic, I would say that, about certain sections of the community and what they'll look like 10 years from now. And more than what they'll look like, how they will function as a way to bring opportunity to other people. Because to me, that's the real purpose of real estate. We talk about, in the industry, we talk about highest and best use, and that's usually, you could translate that to what's the best way to get the most profit. But for me, highest and best use from a community development standpoint, yeah, we want to generate a financial return, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's the way the system that we currently live under operates. And so to operate outside of that, I don't necessarily, it's challenging. But the reality is it has to serve the community too.
Right.
And so I think there's a lot of different ideas. You have a mixed ideas. You have a lot of focus, obviously, on affordable housing. I think that's we need to stabilize those who are most at risk and most vulnerable.
Okay.
But beyond that, it can't just be affordable housing, because without creating economic opportunity, what you're left with is just affordable housing, and you never get people off of that treadmill. And you don't have to go far. I mean, we could point to the examples, the transition of public housing in the 1940s and 50s, what it was supposed to be and what it was for some groups, to what it's turned into. And all you got to do is, drive through Watts, right? And see what happens when you just concentrate poverty, but don't actually bring jobs, don't bring legitimate training, don't have an on-ramp for people to get to prosperity, and you just house them. And so I think, a legitimate question needs to be had, or discussion needs to be had about, is that what we want to see for our commercial corridors? Right. Because we only have so many of those left in the city. And I think that, so I think there's some push and some movement towards kind of a mixed bag approach, having some affordable, having some market rate, focusing on commercial and some of the business, like I said, the business owners really working together to create not just one or two isolated businesses, but more of a hub. Right, more of so you can get make certain places a destination from a business standpoint. And so I'm optimistic in that regard. The one thing that I would point out to listeners and to anybody that I talk with is that real estate is cyclical, right? And so while it seems like these things will last forever, and we certainly have the benefit of the Olympics coming. In 2028, which if the rest of the world is in some sort of recession, right? At least the infrastructure dollars that come along with preparing for the Olympics will help keep LA moving in the right direction. At some point in time, prices reach a point where it just doesn't make sense to do deals. And I would say for most market rate projects, we're at that point now. And so you see a great slowdown in the amount of activity. And so,
I also wonder, especially not just from commercial, but from real estate, period, there seems to be like, I've been in Los Angeles since I was 17, 18 years old, right? So, you have as families grow and their kids grow up, and the kids then go away to college, they come back, then a lot of times their first home is a condo, and then when the parents get to a place they want to sell their homes, to downsize to a condo, then families then grow into a house. But if there are no new condos being built, which there's no new condo complex has been built in the last 10, 15 years. Now everything is focused on rental property. How do we keep that cycle going? And what about the realtors that are selling personal property? They have nothing to sell because there is nothing new being built. And what if you just wanted to buy, because wealth comes from real estate. Right. I have nothing to buy. Not here in the state of California. I can go somewhere else. But If I go to the South, I got to deal with some other stuff that I don't want to deal with. So, that's a quagmire, if you ask me.
Yeah.
What happened to that model?
Right.
Yeah.
What happened to that? If we're building, because that changes the format as well for our young
Yeah.
people. They're making enough money where they could qualify. They have good credit, decent credit, good credit. You can help them do that, where they can buy a condo. Now
Right.
they can move out of the apartments and other people can move in. So can you help a sister understand that process?
I think
That's right.
one of the things that people struggle with understanding is the difficulty in the best of circumstances with doing development in Los Angeles. It's extremely expensive and it's extremely challenging because of just the basic zoning laws, that when you add different elements on top of it, like community opposition to a particular project, right? It sometimes makes these things they just don't work, right? And so at the end of that cycle, what you get left with is the same thing that you had before the cycle. It's just difficult. And so, yeah, I agree. We need more housing options. But one of the things that makes LA real estate so dynamic and such a good investment historically is that there's a limited amount of it. You can go to a market like Houston, like on Instagram, you see these posts, the realtor showing the house of what you get for $37, and it's like a 10-bedroom mansion, and but those things are in the middle of nowhere typically, and 2 years from now they're just going to build another one, 100 yards away, and so the value, if you watch the appreciation of property in markets like Houston, the appreciation is really pretty flat over a 20-30 year period, where in LA obviously is not. And so when we get an opportunity for, I guess, forward thinking development, like I'll use one. There's in the early 2000s, the Bedford Group created a place on Santa Rosalia called Bedford Park.
Pretty reasonable, a couple $100,000 to get into it. Nice facilities. When they first built them, I looked at a couple of them.
Yep. And since then they also did Terra Nova, and then they've tried to do a couple others, right? Over time, they've gotten more, and this is a Black developer from the community who was developing in Los Angeles, in South LA, when nobody was developing in South LA. So there's it's not a gentrification issue or an outsider issue. This is someone who has been in it for a minute. But increasingly over time, they've gotten more pushback, right or wrong, against projects that they wanted to do in the same kind of area, right? From a homeowner's perspective, I could get it. I can understand it, right? But from a community perspective, what's missing now is that could have been an additional 200-300 units.
Right.
That were exactly what you're talking about. Condos, townhomes, kind of that entry level place for younger folks who don't need a ton of space, but are looking for an opportunity to build equity in the community. And that's not there. It's also something that for seniors who need something kind of fixed. Right. And as they're looking to downsize, that's not there. And so what you see across LA is that seniors typically aren't selling. They're not downsizing.
They have no place to go.
Right. So they're sitting on houses that have a ton of equity, and they're not moving out of them. Airbnb is another issue, right? Yeah. But it's just there's just not a ton of, like you said, that entry home or that starter home. And so when I guess the moral, what I would say is our actions have consequences, right? And so whether it's good or bad that a project doesn't get built, I'm not here to say. But what I would say is that when you block a project you block opportunity for others.
Yes.
I see.
And eventually, like using the example of the Baldwin Hills Mall, eventually at some point in time, someone else with bigger pockets comes in, and now you don't even own the project to begin with.
Right, exactly. Yeah, because what happens, so the project, let's say that one. So now your young people leave. So now you're going to be depleted of your young talent here
Yeah.
in this city. And now you're going to have another major problem, 10, 15 years from now, when you need that young people, the young group of people, and your older people are no longer can generate revenue and tax bases for you, for your city. So now you got to start all over again and try to encourage them to come back to a city that they can't buy in. So I don't know. Urban planning to me in Los Angeles has always been a mystery. It's always been a mystery to me.
Yeah.
It's not like they're planning for the future. They're planning for the right now.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a great point, actually.
Like, well, what about 10 years, 10 years? This is an amazing city with I mean, the tech industry, the entertainment industry. So of course it would young people would be gravitated to living in this state.
Yep.
But
Yep.
you don't make it in welcoming for them to be here.
That and then so the only people who can tap into it at that point in time, because there's not like that entry point, are folks who have the benefit of economic,
right,
some boost behind them already, right?
Yes,
because
exactly.
they're family, right?
Because
So you minimize the opportunity for some, but then other folks move in, and we complain about gentrification and what that looks like. There are no silver bullets.
No.
I think that one of the things that I would like to see, if I could wave a magic wand, is I would like to see more coordinated effort and more comprehensive and coordinated plan around placemaking from the city or the government to private developers to community, so that the pieces fit together, or at least there's a vision behind fitting the pieces together. I feel like right now we have a lot of one-off projects. And the idea is, if we build a metro or if we build a stadium, and the developer puts some money around that, then things will spring from that, right?
Right.
But there's not connective tissue, right?
Yeah,
so
I agree.
If we're building at SoFi, why does Market Street have to be negatively impacted by it? Why we can't think about how those two work together?
Right, exactly. Like what's happening there. Why did the 40 businesses that have been there for the last 30, 40 years, why did they have to get affected?
Correct.
And they've been functioning. Why? And since they suffered through the process, why can't they now benefit from that? And now they got to relocate, which is more likely not going to be in that same area.
Or at the very least, what communication are we having with them about a comprehensive strategy for them to exist?
Right.
And something that if you go to the West Side, like the Palisades, right? They have urban villages, like urban retail village. And then they also have access to the newer high density amenities around that. I think that it shouldn't be an either or. I think a lot of times we're tricked into thinking that it has to be one or the other.
One or the other.
And it's because maybe the conversation, I don't know, I'm not in those rooms, so maybe they are having these conversations. I just don't see the results.
Right, exactly.
It would be, I think it would be smart to think about placemaking in a little bit more tied together fashion.
I agree, and if you look at Market Street, I mean, look how long it has gone undeveloped, right? How come you can't move them into some those other areas that's undeveloped? Take the big five and subdivide it and put some of those buildings there, some of those businesses there, and all those other vacant areas, the movie theater, all of those places that's been sitting there for the last 30 years, 40 years, that's been empty. And put them there, that empty space next to Broadway to City First Bank. Put those businesses there.
Hey, look, Inglewood could go a few different directions, but there's no shortage of opportunity for them to get it right. Whether or not they do, I guess time will tell.
Right, exactly. And I do think what you just said is more of us need to be sitting at the table. I think, our platform here, the Business Zone, I have another platform called the Community Briefing. Greg Sneed, he's my moderator. Hey, Greg, he's there. We're actually doing a community forum there, and I'm going to share the flyer in a minute with there on May 18th. I think we need to be sitting at the table because, as you said, if we're not sitting at the table, then we're the ones that's having these conversations. If we're not sitting at the table where these conversations are being had, we have no input. And when we do have input, your platform is important because, again, we get to have some conversation and we get to be able to not coming at it in a negative way. Is like, why are you doing what you're doing and how can we do it better so we all benefit from this, as opposed to us looking like some of us are not benefiting. So we're having this platform, and I know a couple of these people: Daryl Carter, Danny Bakewell, Cherie Franklin. Jason is going to be there from Destination Crenshaw. So this is a 2.5 hour panel on this conversation. We're going to be at. We can definitely send you an invite. Where this is live. It's going to be live and streaming live. But there's going to be about 40 people on in-house at the bank, Chase Bank. And so you definitely should be here having this conversation.
That's you have a lot of brain power on that.
Yeah. And that's where I feel that we as a Black community, we need to take all of our brain power, because we got a lot of it. We just have been all discombobulated in our own silos having these conversations. We need to have more Black think tanks having conversations, being on the same page, creating those consortiums like they did in Leimert Park, what Cherie and them are doing, but not coming from an adversary standpoint. Let's all come together. Let's show them that we can come together and work together. First AME Church way back in the 90s, we worked together. We got stuff done when Reverend Murray was sitting at the helm of First AME. Things moved, and we had a cohesiveness. We have not had that, and that made us very vulnerable for the outside world. We have to create a wall of very smart people. Educated people who have a vested interest in the places that we live in.
That is, you said it right there. There's nothing I can add to that.
I'm telling you, man, she's a wordsmith too.
I get it. I tried to follow up, but I was like...
Matthew, I just have this thing. I am so tired of us being on the bottom of every list under the planet. When I look around at my own friends and colleagues, we are brilliant. And I know we're brilliant. And I know we get along. I know I see my friends that are in fraternities and sororities and churches. I see us working together in those platforms, but I hear the outside world saying, y'all don't work together, and that's BS. So I just think it needs someone to say, hey, no, we are going to work together like a teacher. We're going to work together, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do that.
A lot of that stuff is narratives that They're just not true,
Yeah.
right? And to the extent that they are, there are things that there is a model for us to move forward. And the brothers in Leimert Park have proved that.
Yeah.
They're not the only ones. There's a lot of folks around town who are getting it.
Yeah.
Just from a practical standpoint, for all the small businesses, operators out there, in when you're talking about going to a bank, just had a conversation with a lender this morning around a couple projects, and they are big fans, huge fans of the cooperative model because it diversifies the risk and allows them to create a great impact by by tapping into multiple businesses at once. So if you can find business owners that you know, like, trust, or that you're geographically next to, that you can find common ground with, I would start to have those conversations and start to see what pooling your resources looks like, because that's the fastest way to take a great leap forward. And just in the example of the brothers in Leimert Park, now that they were able to get that one done, now they're able to kind of stretch their wings a little bit as individuals and look at some other opportunities, right?
Right.
But you got to get the first one under your belt, and you got to get kind of understand the landscape. And the best way to do that is together.
I quite agree. So so let me ask this question with you. Some of you were just saying earlier that some of the businesses are, looking at how do we own we want to be land owners versus renters.
Yep.
So do you guys, or does some of your colleagues do forums or workshops on how they go about doing that? Because I have a number of individuals that are voicing an interest. In fact, I have a friend of mine that her landlord is looking at selling their business, and she needs to know what does she need to do to start preparing for that.
Yep.
So if that's the case, I know when the metro was coming down Crenshaw, when we did the canvassing, I was with the Urban League. We went up and down the street, walking and talking to the businesses, and that was the first question that I had, especially for the businesses that have been in those facilities for more than 10, 15 years. And I was like,
Yep.
Did you ever find out if you had a first right of refusal to purchase the building that you were in? And they're like, didn't know that was an option. Okay. Okie dokie. So a lot of them don't know that those are options. And I know it seems like that's realistically that most of us would know that, but we have to understand that most of our small businesses, Gilbert and I know this, they're so deep into working in their businesses that they never know, they ain't even thinking they're not working on it, they're working in it. So anything going on around it and over, it's just not even happening. Yep. Unless Gilbert and I or another business coach says, hey, what about eliminating some of this expense by buying the building and then subleasing half the building, or renting out the business for additional revenue? Really? I can do that. So, but we need resources to be able to direct some of our businesses to be able to learn how to do that.
It's like the brother who earlier, Andrea's husband, pointing out the fact that he couldn't understand the value of the networking, right? Until now we got a contract with the NFL, and it's like, I get it now, right? So it's difficult when you're an entrepreneur because, like you said, you spend so much, like all of your energy towards just the day-to-day and just trying to build around the business model. And a lot of us we just don't have access to the information, or we're not informed about the ways that real estate can accelerate your growth curve, right? Can make it easier for you to scale. And so, yes, myself, in my capacity as a commercial broker at Doherty Real Estate, along with my partner, James Doherty, we do a ton of that sort of work, working with small businesses to help them understand how to transition through the pipeline and move towards acquisition. I also have a consulting practice that I'm building out with another partner, Austin Curry, was the project manager for the developer that came in as a part of the Leimert Park deal.
Okay.
Very smart brother, and so we're working together to create a curriculum, and we're in the process of kind of taking that around to various spaces so that we can meet business owners and teach at scale, right?
Okay.
Because we're just working on that deal. We were able to tap into a lot of different scenarios that you would not necessarily come across, and so between that and the experience that we both bring to the table throughout our careers, it just makes sense that we want to share that with as many people as possible, because the time is now.
Okay.
There is, we don't have the luxury of waiting 3 or 4 or 5 years for the information to kind of slowly filter out, because 5 years from now, the community, it'll be too late, right?
Right,
in some
exactly.
respects or in some parts of the community. And so business owners are working hard today, so we want to try to make it easy for them today to tap into that.
Now, we know that gentrification has been a good way for some of these developers to take over the community and get property at rock bottom prices, and which impact the whole community, kind of like what Crystal was saying earlier about some of the business owners that are renting for 20 years and not even thinking that they could have purchased where they were. So how do we see this continuing to impact our community, and what could small businesses do to be a part of that aspect? Because I'm sure you've seen this a lot. You've seen these guys come into town, and Crystal and I were talking earlier and we're talking about Jared Kushner.
Yeah. Well, he's well, LA is like the place.
Right.
Everybody wants a piece of the pie. So how do you see, us staying stable in the community, knowing that gentrification is the thing now? That's what everybody is doing.
Yeah. So I would say, gentrification can mean a lot of different things. I think the stigma that gets attached to it, or the thing that people associate with it, is displacement, right? The act of gentrification is literally just investment of capital in undercapitalized areas, right? That's the technical, like what it is. The way it plays out in real time, right? In a place like West Adams or along Crenshaw, right? Is it pushes people who are already on the fringe or struggling to maintain, it pushes them out, right? And so I think the first thing, kind of going back to the last answer, is the first thing we can do is be proactive about educating ourselves about where change is happening, what's happening, and then how can we take advantage of it. Right. Is you cannot be displaced. Let me back that up. Gentrification or change is different when you own than when you rent.
That's true.
Right.
It is.
That's
for
true.
Someone who owns property within let's say a quarter mile from the metro, where they just saw their property value go up exponentially, and will continue to see it go up. So that's what we talk about when we talk about the ability for real estate to create generational wealth that can be passed on, right? That's the purpose of real estate. So I think what really needs to happen is we need to do a better job as an industry, reaching people where they are at, and working with them to knock down the obstacles and getting towards ownership. But then the other part is, a lot of people aren't owners because it's challenging to just maintain here in LA, right? And so the one thing that one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about real estate is not just the potential for ownership. It's the fact that there are a ton of lucrative ways that professions that people can get paid where you can add value to your community.
Yeah.
Right. There are only 400 Black women architects in the country
Wow.
out of
Wow.
117,000.
Wow.
Right. Architecture can be a very lucrative and rewarding way for people to place make and use their creativity to improve people's life. Right. We need to get more young people who can draw or are interested in space to think about a career in architecture. Right. And you can go through each one of the industries, right? Whether you're talking about law or whether you're talking about development or asset managers or whatever it is, down to construction, you can talk about the lack of representation that exists in that space. Well, each one of these people gets paid when a project gets redeveloped.
Right, exactly.
Right. And when they get paid, they then have the money to tap in and buy the real estate around that project and benefit further, right? So it's a cycle that you got to be a part of it. And so I don't know if there's a silver bullet, but I definitely think that that education in whatever capacity that is, whether it's formal education or just going to the workshop at Chase and learning about what's happening, or logging into In the Building LA or following us on Instagram, right? And kind of just being aware of what's happening around you. I think all of those things can help you better protect yourself and your family from displacement, while also allowing you to benefit from change that's coming. Because, the reality is I moved to LA in 93. 20 years before that, 30 years before that, people in South Central were begging for capital investment.
Yeah, they were.
Right. The challenge is that when the capital finally comes 60 years later,
right,
is not coming with a purpose of, well, let me ask these people what they would really like, and let's see how we can do it. Right? That's not how money moves, right?
It comes with suspicious intentions.
That's a good way to put it. Suspicious. It's not all bad, right? Some people are really trying to do good work, but some people are, they have other agendas, and you're never going to weed that out of you're not going to weed that out of society, right? There were shady, unscrupulous business people long before the Metro, and there will be some.
Yeah, right, exactly. Right.
So the best thing you can do is inform yourself as best as possible, and then work with other like-minded individuals to grow.
Right.
If people are telling you, you can't do it, move on to the next.
Right.
Once y'all start building, that same person is going to be inspired, and maybe they want to do it on their own time, right?
Right.
So
going back to the numbers you just laid out, you said 400 of these architects are women or Black women?
Black women.
Wow.
Wow.
Black women.
And Matthew, I teach every summer with the Los Angeles Urban League, and I would like to introduce you to the Urban League, the programming VP, because I think that educational informational course that you're looking at would be a great addition to them. I think at Vermont Slauson as well, definitely at because Vermont Slauson is the CDFI. And probably a PCR as well, Colette, because that they're all their financial arms, funding arms over there. But the Urban League, I teach an educational network for teaching entrepreneurship. It's a Biz Camp and Biz Institute. But every summer, I teach a 3-week course, 2 months out of the year. And we're introducing kids to entrepreneurship opportunities and how to run a business. And so we bring in mentors to talk to kids about the different ways and different businesses that they can start. It would love to have you come in and talk to the kids. We have 50 kids per session. This year we're doing live. We're going to be at Da Vinci in El Segundo. Come in and talk to the kids, because that's what we want them to do. Because that's where it starts, right?
I would be honored. Yeah,
okay.
I would love to.
Okay.
Yeah. Matter of fact, when I was at UCLA doing my research, I worked to to help set up one of the nifty
Okay.
summer camp programs.
Okay.
So
All right. Cool. Because we've
yeah.
been doing, I've been doing Nifty with the Urban League, where the program's been around for about 17 years. I've been doing it for probably about 13 of those 17 years
Yeah.
with Rhonda. In fact, our kids tomorrow are doing their final business plan competition. So we got some kids that are competing for $2,500 tomorrow. I got 4 kids that are competing. Would love to, because I mean, that's where it starts, right? And outside of the
Yep.
traditional school system, because we have more control over them. And Da Vinci is a unique school. So some of their kids will be there as well. They have an entrepreneurial beginning, the entrepreneur program, but they got a real unique, they're a charter kind of school. So that might be another opportunity there. But however, Gilbert and I and the community briefing, we definitely love to, I'm all about partnership, a collaboration, and so that we can get this word out. I think that's our key right now, is how do we all work together to get the information out? That's the one thing I think that is missing in our community, is getting that information to our people, and those of us that have influence over them, that to really get them to take that information and utilize that information. So Gilbert has, that in with his clientele. I have that with my clientele. All my other colleagues that are coaches, we tend to have that. We have the ear of our clients.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would love to, collaborate in any way. Like I said, I'm relatively new to this space in terms of, trying to raise awareness and do the edutainment and get people involved. And so any opportunity to partner with folks who have been fixtures in the community, who've been doing this work a long time, I embrace, I welcome that.
Okay, well, fantastic. This has been awesome.
Yeah.
A lot of great little nuggets to chop up, and hopefully Andrea got some stuff out of this and on how to go about. And since she's building a team, I think they all can get together and buy a building, create an ESOP, and that's the method, the way they're going anyway. And they got a good thing going on in Las Vegas over there.
So Matthew, do you extend your services into the Las Vegas area or in other states, or is it just here in California?
Right now, just Southern California, but I never say no. So if Andrea wants to need some help, I definitely can. I definitely sit down for a phone call.
Because the area in Las Vegas, man, it's been developing. I was there in 2017 and 18, and that's where I met Andrea. But and they got the message soon, because they heard that. First of all, they heard that they were developing the stadium for the Raiders at that time. So message was out there. Everybody understand, Raiders, football and all of that. So people start buying up all the lands around that area in Vegas. You see what I'm saying? So the prices of apartments, condos, houses start going up. You could get a nice 3-bedroom house in Vegas, man, for 200 something thousand, And then they've had some new developments that were going up for like 300,000 to 400,000, but you get like a nice 4-bedroom out of that. And I'm telling you, the houses are big and spacious, high ceilings. When I say high ceiling, I'm not talking 8-foot ceiling like here. I'm talking like 20-foot ceiling, man. That's how high they are. So those were really amazing. So there's still land being developed over there, man.
Vegas is I was never really bullish on Vegas as a market. Coming out of 2008, they got crushed so bad because they're so strip dependent, right? The entire economy of Vegas was built on the strip, right? And what I've seen, and I think the Golden Knights, the Raiders, now they're working on getting the A's there. When you drive into Vegas, they have the huge solar panel field. What you see, there's a lot of logistics hubs going out there. What you see is that the city recognized that was a shortcoming.
Mhm.
right?
yes.
And now they're starting to create an economy
They're trying to
exists
correct it.
100% outside of the strip,
Yeah,
and that's more viable long
yeah,
term.
yeah.
And so yeah, Vegas is exciting.
Well, you know what? A lot of people, instead of going to the strip to purchase, because some of my friends have done this, they're going to Henderson. Henderson is like 15, 20 minutes outside of the strip, right?
Yep.
So a lot of people are going there to buy. Now that you mentioned this team that's going there, right? This baseball team, you know there's going to be a basketball team soon. So they're going to.
LeBron said he's going to take a team there when he retires.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So when they go there, right? They're probably going to do the Henderson area. That's where they're probably going to build a stadium because there's a whole lot of land out there, man. When was the last time you've been to Vegas?
I went last summer. Summer sometime.
Man, I used to go there every week. So I travel all these areas.
I used to go out there, not quite that often, but yeah, I had a good run.
Man, I used to teach these classes, man. So I had to be there every week. So where Andrea's company is located right now, they're starting to build because she set up shop on where there's a lot of open land around her. So she can be classified as a hub zone, through the SBA and all of that too. So that's why I'm telling her to hold off on purchasing the land so we can use all these different programs. But
hey, she's in the right space. She's in construction. She could do all of it herself.
Oh yeah.
And looking at a lot of other groups, you have folks who build wealth in an industry, like dentists, for example.
Yeah.
Who then take that money and leverage it into real estate, and now they're full-time developers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a process, right? And so she is positioned I want to meet her just because she's
I'm telling you, man.
I want to learn how to grow my business like that too.
Yeah, it's amazing. And after she's done this NFL thing, the next two big ventures that's coming this way, as you mentioned earlier, is the FIFA World Cup in 2026 and the Olympics in 2028. So that alone, the Olympics alone is $5.3 billion of fund injection in our community. So that's how we got to look at that, and that's how we got to approach that, man. We got to get a piece of that pie.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, it's been awesome, my friend. Thank you so much, and I'm gonna send you. It's awesome. I'm gonna send you the invite for the symposium. All your real estate buddies will be over there. The community briefing is this other platform, and we're definitely going to have you on over there. That platform I created during the pandemic, mainly because I just felt that we weren't getting the information, and I didn't want us to get lost during the pandemic. And so
you saved a lot of businesses during the
pandemic.
Yes.
If
nobody else is going to give you your flowers,
I know,
like you single-handedly saved a lot of businesses.
I told her that before too, man. She did, because what she did on that community briefing, no one did that. No city, no county, none of that entity. She stepped in all by herself, unilaterally.
I'm gonna add a layer to that. You kept a lot of people out of jail too.
Yes.
You kept a lot of people out of them PPP scams.
Yep. Well, that's a good thing right there. But those were listening. So, and now it's just having its own little mind. So my goal is to we're gonna create it as that platform, just like you're doing with your social media, your media platform, kind of like an NPR, where's that source, bringing all of I'd like to see all of us with all of our media platforms coming to that one location where we can just tap into the real estate space, the community space, this space, this space. This is where you want to find out what's happening.
Hey, anytime you want to do an intro email to Miss Harris, I would welcome that conversation.
Okay. Yeah.
And don't hesitate, man. If you want to bring us on your show, we'll be happy to be on it too.
Yeah, 'cause that's-
1,000% done deal.
Yeah, because we need to have that place, right? We need to. This is, and for folks not to be censoring us, right? Every now and then, Facebook just like just now. I was on my platform of the business on there, telling me I'm restricted. Okay, well I'll go over to Recycle Black Dollars.
You know what's amazing to me? They've been censoring us since the beginning of time, right? We don't need to be on their platform. We need to create our own. You see what I'm saying? We need to create our own. We hear about Black Twitter and Black Facebook or whatever. We need to have our own platform where there's no censoring going on like that. You know?
I agree.
All right, fine. I'm just sitting right here doing nothing. And it says, we restricting you. Okay, well, I'll just go over to Recycle Black Dollars. I got 5 Facebook pages, dude.
Wait. They're restricting you right now as we speak?
As we were speaking on the Business Zone, I was doing something. I was just doing some thumbs up on something Matthew was saying, and it told me I was restricted. So
that is ridiculous.
I just jumped over to Recycle Black Dollars, and I'm not restricted.
What? Because we were talking about gentrification.
You must have said. I must have said the word black too many times.
Yeah.
Oh no, you said investment.
Oh, we can't have that.
We can't have that.
Investment in the Black community. That's what you said.
Cannot have that.
And then we talked about collaboration.
Yeah, you're right. You know what? I should have known better. I apologize.
This is crazy, man.
I apologize, Mr. Zuckerberg.
We got to establish. Oh, you know what, Matthew? Crystal and I, we did a show back in February, Black History Month. We did a show on Marcus Garvey, recognizing Marcus Garvey for what he did, because he was one of the first Black entrepreneur, by Black movement entrepreneur, right? Yeah. So we were talking about that, and we were bringing it to light to let people know, that he was there to empower folks in the entrepreneurial space. He wasn't recommending that they go to work for the man. Just go start your own business, and and then he would provide funding and all of that. Oh man, they put a big old restriction on Facebook. We couldn't upload our video on there at all.
Yeah. Oh, that was because they wouldn't let me broadcast. They wouldn't let me boost it because I was boosting it all the way through after Africa. That's what they wouldn't let me do.
That is so crazy, man.
Yeah, if you can figure out how to get around their, when they block a campaign.
Yeah.
Let me know. They
I
get a lot of content blocked.
Yeah.
That is not doing anything. I think Black home ownership is rising. Was the post, and
that's why we got to come up with our own, man. We got to create our own.
You have to kind of rephrase. I use AI now to rephrase my titles.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, I use an AI. I have a platform that I use. Is called VQ something another, and I actually pay for it so when I come back to edit it, I let it take my titles and come up with a title that will be more acceptable to the
but see, that's just watering down stuff, man. We want to see titles a certain way. We don't want them telling us, oh, you cannot say black, but you got to say economically dispossessed.
But then I take my titles. But if you take so this is Facebook and YouTube. Well, YouTube will let you do whatever the heck you want. So YouTube is really a better platform, right? Yeah. And will get you much more amount of it because Google doesn't do that. And then I put it over into a Podbean, and then it disperses it out. I can use whatever titles I want. Facebook, we use it, but there are other resources. There are other platforms that are actually better.
I just signed us up for Rumble. I understand Rumble is not as sensitive as Facebook and others. So I signed us up for that. I'm gonna send you the protocols and everything, man. So we can broadcast on that and don't have to worry about being censored.
Yeah, there are other YouTube you make money at anyway. You don't make no money at Facebook.
Yeah.
So that's
and you do make money on Rumble too, because
Yeah, so
they have those different pricing that you can select, and folks,
yeah.
yeah.
But I'll send you over the what I use for it's called Video IQ or something of that nature.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yep.
also going to send you the link for the Eventbrite for the West of Facey, so you can sign up for that, because I think it's
Awesome.
the first.
I look forward
it's the
to it.
first one. I'll send that out to you today. But it's fantastic. We're gonna sign off, and it's been awesome. You've been definitely giving us some good nuggets today, and you're incredible, my friend.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate you,
Thank
my
you. I
brother,
appreciate-
and thanks for sharing your wisdom with us and the marketplace.
I appreciate y'all holding this space for us out here.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you, and
definitely. Because
you've been a great guest.
it's amazing. When we started in 2016, Crystal was telling me that there's a few little people out there doing something similar, but once we launch, man, we don't see anyone doing what we're doing. So we're going, man, let's control this market space.
Well, podcasting is a tough thing. It's more about consistency, and
Yeah.
so they're wanting instantaneously, and the money doesn't always come instantaneously. We're just
Yeah.
getting ready to monetize it, but
Yeah.
for our community, it's really more about information. So
Yeah.
our focus wasn't really on the monetizing it in the beginning. It was
Yep.
really more about dispersing of the information. And for me, I don't know about Gilbert, but for me, it was awesome far as a marketing tool.
Well,
So
I want my money. I want my money.
we will get there.
Pay me my money.
But thank you so much, Matthew. We so appreciate you.
If
Thank you.
if we can't get our reparations or 40 acres of the mule, I want my money. Pay me
I'm
my
getting my
commercial.
reparations. I don't know about you, Gilbert. I'm getting my reparations.
You getting yours, huh?
I'm getting mine.
When you get your check, Matthew at Doherty Real Estate.
I hear that. I hear that.
So Supervisor Holly is having an event. She's been doing, I don't know if you've heard, she's been doing these racial justice learning annexes or exchanges.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So the one in May is on reparations.
Oh,
Hmm.
beautiful.
Yeah, she's been real about them. I really have developed an amazing admiration for her. She's on the real.
They've
Yeah.
been talking about reparations though for the San Francisco area. So that seemed like it may be approved first than anything else.
Well,
So,
they down here too. They actually have a task force. So up there,
Oh.
they've been talking $5 million. Down here, they've been talking $380 something thousand. But up there, they didn't brought it to 5 million. And because San Francisco said 5 million, Australia is like, oh, okay, they talking 5 million. Maybe we should be talking 5 million for our original people. So
the Aborigines. So Crystal, just tell those folks, Holly's friends, that we reject that 380,000. We want our 5 mil.
Yeah, I want my 5 mil. It should be more
We
than that.
reject that 380,000.
All righty, guys. Thank you, Matthew.
All right, man.
We're
Matthew,
gonna
thank
sign
you so
off.
much,
Thank
man.
you so much, and you have a great weekend. And we
Thank you,
will
you
see
too.
you soon. Gilbert, take us out.
We're out.
As a small biz grower, so we roll, using procurement, program and control. As a small biz grower, so we grow, using procurement, program and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.